Hello and welcome to the Drawhunter. I am your charming host, Kevin Cleary, and this is the only soccer gambling podcast where we don't pick any winners. We hunt for the stalemate. We hunt for the draw that pays better because we like to bet the draw because draws happen a lot. 30% of all pro matches end in a draw, year after year, season after season. So why not try to figure out when and where they are most likely to happen, if only to protect your win bet from getting burned. Because soccer bets at a sports book, for any new listeners, they're settled on a result after regulation time, 90 minutes plus stoppage time. So if a game goes into overtime or penalty kicks for some reason, that doesn't apply to our bet and we win. So the games we're talking about today are the hidden value draws, where the market is pricing outcomes too heavily towards the favorites or volatility. These are the games where parity pays off. And even if you want to bet on winners, and I don't blame you if you do, running down the games through this kind of perspective is still a valuable handicapping tool. As I said, if only to protect your draw, if only to protect your win bet. And if you're listening to the Drawhunter podcast, you're already ahead of the curve, and you're probably a smart bettor looking for new and good information, and that's what we try to provide here. New episodes of this show drop twice a week, Mondays like today for all the midweek action, Thursdays for the weekend slate. Please subscribe to our show if you like what you hear. You can do it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you have any questions, comments, complaints, or pics of your own to share, please email us at drawhunterpodcast@gmail.com. Now let's get right into the games and the picks. These are the fixtures that combine a low scoring average, balanced possession rates, injury disruptions, historical draw frequency, and market pricing that combine to give us the contrarian draw value that we look for on these kinds of bets. The games we're covering in this episode are taking place basically January 28th through the 30th, but mostly on Wednesday and Thursday, the 8th and 29th, because we're mostly covering the UEFA Champions League and Europa League action this week for the midweek action. And to start it off on Wednesday, we've got a game that we like here, Monaco versus Juventus. Monaco is the home underdog at plus 225 on the betting sheet. Juventus is the away favorite here at plus 120. There's still a plus number there. The draw is plus 245. Ball possession rates are actually pretty close for these two teams. Monaco's at 45%. Juventus is at 48%. Monaco is a little underwater with the goals in this tournament, the Champions League tournament. They've only scored 8 goals, but they've allowed 14. Juventus is a little bit of the opposite there. They've scored 14 goals, but they've allowed 10. They've only had 4 meetings in the last 10 years, and one out of the 4 was a draw, but they are rare meetings. The way these two teams are playing, though, this year, this is a very live draw candidate. Juve's conservative approach away from home, plus Monaco's tendency to attack but not fully overcommit in big European ties, points towards a nice 1-1-0-0 script. Both sides have enough quality to score, but both also have strong incentive not to lose the first leg of the match, and that's what we're going to be seeing a lot of this midweek. Because next up we've got Athletic Club versus Sporting CP, and they are again. This is the Champions League, and this is the first. All of these games are first leg of the tie, and so Athletic Club is plus 120. Sporting is plus 225. The draw is plus 245. Those numbers look awfully familiar to the last game. Ball possession rates are pretty close here. Athletic is at 42%. Sporting is at 46%. Athletic has scored 7 goals in the Champions League this year. They've allowed 11 to be scored. Sporting has scored 14 goals, but they've still allowed 9 to be scored. There's a very limited direct play history between these two teams, and we're going to see a lot of that this week, where there's a lot of teams that either very rarely play each other or have never played each other before. Both of these teams can press, and both of them are comfortable in structured mid-blocks. So you've got two well-organized sides, both physically intense, with neither likely to be reckless in a Champions League knockout environment. The possession splits should be fairly even between these two teams, and both teams are strong on set pieces, another draw-friendly factor. This feels like a 1-1 grinder with long spells of stalemate while they wait for the second game to see who takes it. We've got Borussia Dortmund versus Inter up next on Wednesday. And Dortmund is plus 195. Inter is the away favorite here at plus 135. And the draw is another nice, healthy plus 245. Ball possession rates are almost identical here. Dortmund's at 55.7% ball possession rate. Inter is at 57.5%. If you're dyslexic, you're going to mix up those numbers very easily. Dortmund has scored 19 goals in the Champions League. They've allowed 15. Inter has scored 13 goals in the Champions League this year. They've only allowed 7. These two teams have not played each other in 7 years. And 7 years ago, they split the two games. But Inter's defensive structure and Dortmund's home attacking push create a nice tension here. Dortmund can score, but Inter are excellent at managing game states and playing for narrow margins. I think this is another strong 1-1 candidate with both sides likely to score, but neither eager to overextend with what we call risk aversion on the pitch, especially in the first game of a big tie. And those are the Wednesday games. Next up on Thursday, we've got FC Midtjylland and Dynamo Zagreb. Mid is the minus 120 home favorite. Dynamo is plus 300. The draw is plus 270. Ball possession rates are almost identical. Mid is at 50.4 and Dynamo is at 50.1. Mid has scored 16 goals in the Europa League this year. They've allowed 8 to be scored, so they're 2-1 there. Dynamo is a little weaker. They're 12 goals scored and 14 allowed. There is no history between these two clubs, but both clubs are seasoned in European football. This is a very even matchup, strong set-piece sides and very similar levels. A very natural 1-1 under 2.5 bet candidate with neither, again, wanting to blow the first leg of this. And as I said before, if anything is going to be the theme of the week in both the Champions League and the Europa League this week, it's going to be risk aversion. And another example of that is going to be Lille versus SC Freiburg. This one's a home game in Lille, and they are the home team, and they're the favorite at minus 110. Freiburg is plus 290. The draw is plus 250. Lille is a possession hog. They like the ball, and they hold it about 60% of the time when they play. Freiburg is a little more equitable. They're a 50% possession rate. Lille has scored 11 goals in the Europa League this year, and they've allowed 9 scored. Freiburg is a little stronger than that. They've scored 10 goals, but they've only allowed 3 goals to be scored. And this is another game where these teams have never met each other. But they're both very tactically disciplined, and both sides are comfortable in very structured games and not overly expansive on the European stage. 1-1, again, feels like a very natural outcome. And this is remember, there's like 20 games going on, and we're only talking about 8 of them today. And then we've got Ludogorets versus Nice. And this is a home game for Ludogorets. They're minus 109 right now. Nice is plus 280. The draw is plus 260. Ludogorets has the ball about 46% of the time. Nice has the ball about 42% of the time. Ludogorets has scored 11 goals in the Europa League this season. They've got 15 allowed. Nice has only scored 7 goals and they've allowed 14, so they're really underwater there. This is another game where there's no head-to-head history between these two teams before, which also makes managers very apprehensive when they send the men out on the pitch because, again, that risk aversion and the unknown of not knowing a team is actually a big thing for managers. but both of them, especially Nice, tend to play low-scoring, very controlled matches. Nice has got a defensive first profile. Ludogorets has a solid home record, and that points to a low total draw-friendly script for me here on this one. And then we've got Panathinaikos in Athens, Greece, is hosting Roma. And the home team is actually the underdog here. Pan is plus 360. Roma is minus 129. So the bookmakers love Roma here. The draw is plus 260. Ball possession rates, I think, are a little closer than the bookmakers are paying attention to because Pan is at 53.7% and Rome is at 54.7%. Pan, they average about 1.7 goals scored per game and they allow less than one at 0.9. Whereas Roma averages about 1.6 goals scored per game and they average allowing 1.1 scored on them. Okay, now these two teams have not played for 16 years. And both of the games were 3-2 for Pan the last time, 16 years ago. If you think that plays a factor in your determination here, which I don't. But the Italian sides in Greece often play very slow tactical games. Roma's pragmatic European style here puts a very tough away venue. Make it I wouldn't be surprised if there was no scoring in this game. 0-0, 1-1. Very realistic outcomes. Then we've got Sturm Graz versus Braun, and this is taking place in Graz. They're the home team, and they're plus 180, whereas Braun is actually the favorite here. They're plus 140, so you can see the bookmakers are kind of on the fence there, really, numerically. The draw is plus 245, and that's fat, and it looks happy for us, because Sturm has the ball about 44% of the time in their games. Braun has it about 46%. Both of these teams are challenged when it comes to scoring. Sturm has only scored 4 goals in this tournament. They've allowed 11 to be scored on them. Braun has scored 9 goals in the tournament. They've allowed 10. This is another game where there's no head-to-head history between these two teams. They're both used to being domestic protagonists and not playing on the European stage here. So this is when you've got a lack of experience in some of these European tournaments, your managers are, again, cautious on the pitch because of the, say it with me, risk aversion in the situation that is in front of them, being the first of 2 games to be played. So those are the games for this week. If I had to pick a favorite out of everything, boy, I like that Lille versus Freiburg game. I like the Mid versus Dynamo Zagreb game. I also like the Monaco Juventus game. So there you go. Those would probably be my top 3 picks for this midweek action in the Champions and Europa League. So that's it for this episode of the Drawhunter. I am still your charming host, Kevin Cleary. As I said before, new episodes drop twice a week. Mondays like today for all the midweek action, Thursdays for the weekend slate. Hopefully we'll see you back here on Thursday. Once again, please subscribe to our show. It makes us look good. You can do it at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you have any questions, comments, complaints, feel free to email us at drawhunterpodcast@gmail.com. From the entire Drawhunter team, thanks for listening, and remember, there is no stopping it. Draws will happen. Gambling involves risk. Please gamble responsibly. This show is for informational and entertainment purposes only. No guarantees are made regarding results or financial gain. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. You must be of legal age to participate in gambling activities. Check your local laws and regulations before placing any bets. And just a reminder, this podcast was made by humans.